Thank you, Chairman DeFazio, Ranking Member Graves, members of the committee. Good morning. I appreciate the invitation to appear here today. My name is John Wainwright. I hold a PhD in economics from the University of Texas at Austin. Until my recent retirement, after 24 years, I served as a managing director at NERA Economic Consulting. My primary career focus has been analyzing the effects of discrimination on minorities and women. My written testimony contains 90 pages of analysis conducted and compiled for this hearing. I will attempt to summarize. I've performed extensive original research using 95 existing disparity studies, as well as data covering millions of firms from the Census Bureau's Survey of Business Owners, the Annual Business Survey, and the American Community Survey. My testimony is a continuation of similar research I've performed over the course of my career as an economist. I conclude that there is strong evidence, both past and present, of large, adverse, and statistically significant disparities facing minority-owned and women-owned business enterprises in the United States. Moreover, these disparities cannot be explained solely or even primarily by differences in factors that are untainted by discrimination. In other words, these disparities are primarily due to discrimination and its destructive effects. I reach this conclusion from three main sources of empirical evidence. First, disparity studies overwhelmingly demonstrate adverse findings for minority and women-owned businesses. The vast majority of the 95 disparity studies I reviewed in my testimony identified large adverse disparities affecting minority and women-owned businesses in both construction and professional services like architecture and engineering. In construction, 72% of disparities were adverse, and 81% of those were large and adverse. In construction-related professional services, 77% were adverse, and 97% of those were large and adverse. I'm confident that if a similar analysis were conducted with additional studies, such as the 40 that have been introduced into the record here today, it would reveal similar results. Second, census data shows large, adverse, and statistically significant disparities. The most recent complete census showed that for every dollar of sales and receipts earned by non-minority male-owned firms, African Americans earned just 34 cents, Hispanics just 47 cents, and Asians just 47 cents. American Indian and Alaska Native-owned firms earned just 43 cents. Native Hawaiian and other Pacific Islander-owned firms earned just 49 cents, and women earned just 41 cents. Third, statistical regression analysis shows that historical and current disparities are largely due to discrimination. The most recent American Community Survey shows that the rate of business formation for African Americans would be 120% higher in the absence of discrimination. For Hispanics, the figure is 41%. For Asians, 30% higher. For American Indians and Alaska Natives, 43% higher. For Native Hawaiians and other Pacific Islanders, 58% higher. For women, 44% higher in the absence of discrimination. In closing, there is still some good news. As my testimony shows, and as you've heard today from the other witnesses, although severe disparities persist, we are making progress thanks primarily to public efforts like the DVE and ACDVE programs. Still, now is not the time to reduce our efforts to eliminate business discrimination and its effects. Indeed, the evidence is overwhelming that if we eliminate or reduce these programs, much greater disparities will very quickly occur. The best metaphor I can offer is to consider someone like myself who takes blood pressure medication. If you take my blood pressure while I'm on my meds, it will read as close to normal. Obviously, that does not mean that any responsible doctor would say it's time to stop taking my medicine. This is precisely why I and other researchers in this area try to examine both public sector contracting markets where affirmative measures like the DVE program are found, as well as private sector contracting markets where such programs are rare and consequently discrimination remains almost totally unremediated. The bottom line is this: despite admirable progress, discrimination and its destructive effects are deeply rooted in the American economy. Such discrimination makes it immeasurably harder for women and minorities to form and grow their own firms. This reality has innumerable harmful consequences for our economy and for our nation. For all these reasons, I strongly urge you to reauthorize the DBE program. Thank you very much.